Assembly has declared its readiness to come up with appropriate legislation that will guarantee the rights and privileges of domestic workers in Nigeria. Our correspondent Kuliojo has more in the story.
The National Assembly has declared its readiness to come up with appropriate legislation that will guarantee the rights and privileges of domestic workers in Nigeria. The Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, gave the assurance in Abuja on Monday during the opening session of public hearing on a bill seeking to provide for the documentation and protection of domestic workers and employees. Correspondent Kunujo reports that Akpabio, represented by Senator Binos Yaro, said the bill seeks to ensure and preserve the inalienable rights of domestic workers in the country, adding that category of people have been subjected to various forms of abuse and molestation across the country. The Senate President stressed the need for all stakeholders to confront the grave injustice being meted to domestic workers, collate the views and opinions to domestic workers, and set them free from all forms of discrimination and molestation in the hands of their employers.
That every individual, including domestic workers and employees, is born equal and possesses the same inalienable rights. As a Senate committed to rectifying the wrongs in our society, we have come together today to discuss the bill to provide for the documentation and protection of domestic workers and employers.
He, however, declared the readiness of the 10th Assembly to collate the views and opinions of stakeholders and ensure the speedy passage of the bill for the welfare and well-being of domestic workers in the country. Other speakers at the event, including the Chairman, Senate Committee on Labour and Productivity, Senator Diket Plang, and the Minister of Labour and Employment, represented by Ismail Abubakar, highlighted the plight of domestic workers in Nigeria.
I'm sure that most of us are aware of nasty things that have happened, even either to the domestic worker or the employer of the domestic service. And the bill is intended that it becomes a law where the Ministry for Labour and Productivity will have a lot of role in documenting, standing in for, accounting for domestic workers employed in Nigeria.
The category of workers comprises a significant part of the global workforce in informal employment and is becoming the most vulnerable group of workers. They work for private households, often without clear terms of employment, unregistered and excluded from the scope of labor legislation. They often labor under harsh economic conditions, work long hours for low wages without benefits,